Bears. Bears Country Podcast.
Welcome to Bears Country Podcast. I am Kitty. Nice to meet you all. We are starting off tonight's show with me introducing it. I am the producer of Bears Country Podcast and the wife of Mr. Shorty, if you do not know that. I want to take a quick moment to thank everybody for your condolences for the passing of my mother. It has helped me tremendously, and each of you have a story, and I do appreciate you sharing that with us. But let's keep uplifting. We've got our first game right around the corner. So I'm here to introduce your host this evening, the love of my life and goofball that he is, Mr. Shorty.
Aww.
Hi, honey.
Hi, baby. Goofball that I am, huh?
Have you seen your shorts, Mr. Shorty? I shake my head at quite a few.
Kitty, this is an honor for all of us here at Bears Country to have you open this up for us. Because what we want to bring here is some female presence. And look how hot you are sitting there in that Urlacher jersey.
It's one of my favorite Bears, I have to say. And you did steal my jersey that you're wearing. So.
I did. I still. But you're actually wearing the official. Look at the color difference. That's back when the jerseys were, 25 years ago when you bought that real jersey. That was the jersey you were getting. It was the game day jersey.
Like it.
It has all the padding. There's all the space in there for the padding and everything.
Yeah,
these are just like.
I would look like this.
And as far as I'm concerned, the color is off. So you have the good jersey.
It's heavy. It's really heavy. Okay, and I apologize if I'm looking down at my notes since this is my first time introducing these two guys. Next, we have up our anonymous D1 defensive back / receiver, which I was just informed this evening, Mr. Nomad. Hey, Nomad.
Hey, how you doing, Kitty? I got one thing to tell you two, man. Just one thing real quick. Get a fucking room. All that hugging and kissing over there. No, seriously, Kitty, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing it through all the stuff that I know you're dealing with privately and trying to keep a happy face on yourself. And just, I appreciate you for just being present. So thank you.
I do appreciate that. It's the ups and downs, right? It gives you moments to remember how life is so precious and reflect on a lot of things. And then it also helps you not be scared anymore.
It does. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been thinking about that too. Nomad has gone through some things recently too. We can all, I think, agree with what you just said there.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. But we're here to talk about Bears, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And I bid you adieu until next week. And love you both. Love Bears Country Podcast fans. And, of course, go Bears.
We'll see you in the back. Amen. Oh, man, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't remember being this jacked up since I always forget the season that we drafted Devin Hester. But is it 2006? Is it 06?
06, yep.
Okay, that year. I was like I told you guys before in other pods, I was there present for those training camps, and there was a certain energy to that group. And from a distance, and the things I'm seeing, the little clips I'm seeing from everything I'm seeing, I know it's the same energy, maybe even better. And so we'll get into all that stuff later, but I'm intense when it comes to the beginning of this season, man, because I know we got something we got to prove out here, and I think they got the team put together to do it.
It has that feeling, doesn't it? You're starting to get that feeling like they actually know what they're doing, and they're starting to put this together. I mean, we just heard not a couple of days ago that Ted Phillips is finally retiring, which to me has I'm happy as hell for that. I think most Bears fans are happy to see that happen, but it does beg some curious questions, which we can get into later, because we do have a special guest we want to bring on here in a moment. But before we do that, I'd like to say, due to some unforeseen circumstances, we were supposed to be broadcasting tonight's show on the Barroom Network, but we had to kind of push that out a little bit. So we will be moving forward on our Monday night podcast on our channel until further notice, and we will let you all know in advance so that you know where to catch Bears Country Podcast live on Monday nights. So, Nomad, why don't we say we have a special guest here that everybody knows who he is from the Barroom chat. He's a great conversation. We've been talking with him backstage, and this is gonna be a lot of fun having him on to talk some Bears with us. So let's bring on our special guest here. We have Cliff Victoria, who's gonna join us. Cliff, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, Shorty? Good to see you. Nomad, great to see you. And Barflies, this is for you.
Nice shirt.
I thought I had to pull that one out of the drawer. It's been waiting just for a episode like this.
How old is that shirt?
You know, it's actually not that old. Probably a year and a half, 2 years or something. Available on Amazon if anybody. wants it.
Okay.
But I'm happy to be on the show now. I mean, you guys know I do a lot of chatting. So maybe not as much as Don Burr, but I still do a lot. So I'm happy to be on here and have a microphone because you can't ignore me now. So I'm just going to say what I want to say, and let's talk some Bears.
It's awesome to have someone who has been such a good conversation in chat on here to join us. And this is kind of what the show has been developed. We're trying to develop the show for that. So that fans like you, Cliff, can come on and instead of putting all the shit you have to say up in chat up there, come on and spew it out of your mouth to us. So like, why don't you, before we begin, like, why don't you give the fans out there like a little background on you and your Bear fandom?
Sure. I started very young. One of my early childhood memories is my dad buying a couple of football helmets for my little brother and me. He bought my brother a Bears helmet, of course, and for some reason he bought me a Green Bay Packers helmet. And I have no idea why he did that. I should have asked him before he passed because I still don't know why he did that. So, all right, so that started back then.
It sucks when you have those questions you can't have them answered, right? Like,
yes. So fast forwarding to my first date with my future wife, who we've been together 32 years now. She worked at a local bank. I used to do business with my company there. And I asked her out on a date and found that she did like the Bears. So I said, well, let's go to Riley's Daughter. I don't know if you guys remember the bar Riley's Daughter in Chicago. Also, maybe, I forget what town it was in. But anyways, I took her there and I said, they have this show called The Bears Report, where some of the Bears are up on stage and they talk to the audience and do I think probably radio broadcast at the time. So we get in there and then she says, hey, you know, my bank has a table up front. Do you want to go sit there? Yes, I do. So we went up to the table. I was within spitting distance of the Bears and we went there several more weeks and I knew I couldn't let that woman go.
Oh, man. That's a keeper right there.
Definitely.
Because now you know you have built-in availability to watch Bears games, right?
Yes.
And to continue your Bears obsession.
And like, she doesn't mind. She's a fan too.
That's awesome. So she watches all the games with you.
Yes.
Yep. You got yourself a kitty right there.
I do. Although I don't think she'd be coming on the show. So we'll have to stop it at that level.
Nomad, does Patty watch the games with you?
No. Hell no.
No?
Hell no. Hell to the no. No. She watches football. She likes football, but she's not quite into it the way I am. And we all know, man, you got certain females that they can be a hindrance when you're watching football if they're not into it the way you are, asking questions and all that shit. I can do without that, so no.
Ain't that
I
the
go
truth,
solo,
man?
Jack.
So, you guys you've been married with your wife for, you said 32 years?
Correct.
That's awesome, man.
Hopefully I got the number right. I think I did.
So that's a lot of it's awesome to be able to watch the games with your spouse. I'm lucky to have Renee or Kitty. She didn't follow the sport quite like I do until, I don't know, just she's always been curious and always sat there and listened to everything that I had to say, but she never really retained it because she was just like, whatever, I'm just listening to you. But now she's really starting to retain it. And Bears Country Podcast is getting her even more excited about the Bears, like we all are. We have this is opening week here, and I came up here. That's why my backdrop is different again. And in case anyone doesn't know, that banner means that you're in Bears Country. That's why we have Bears Country Podcast. So we came up here, or I came up here, to see my mother for her birthday, and we had a birthday party for her yesterday, and I got some tickets thrown into my lap for the Niners game, and I thought, why not? I have to take those tickets. It's going to do nothing but create. Everyone's going to love what's going to happen out of this channel come that game day. I can promise you that. And all the stuff we've been talking about, the stuff that we have in the works since I accepted those tickets, is going to be amazing. So we started off with a kind of a tour back home of our favorite foods, or my favorite foods, that when I come back home. So I did a bone of beef. I tried to go to my favorite hot dog place today, but they were closed for Labor Day, so I had to go to Home Depot, of all places, has a damn good hot dog in every one of their exits, and pretty much every Home Depot I've ever been to where I live. I don't know if that's all around the entire state, but it should be because they have really good dogs. So I just decided to go there. I did a little short on them there, and we have more content of that to come, of like some of my favorite places to eat. And for the people that have moved out of the state like I have, but are born and raised there and their blood is from there, I'm hoping that people enjoy just kind of seeing what it's like to kind of have reminiscing when you see me eating a hot dog or a beef and getting fat in front of everyone's eyes. I feel like I'm already like fatter now just from I've already had pizza, beefs, hot dogs, and there's much more to come. So I just have to make sure I fast so I don't get like gain like.
Can I interrupt right quick?
Please do.
Can I interrupt right quick?
Yes.
Because I just want all the listeners and viewers to know, and I want you to hold this over Shorty's head until you get is he really from the Chicagoland area? I'm curious because he's never ever had a Scott Peterson Polar sauce. How in the fuck is that possible? How? Matter of fact, get your ass up from that seat right there and go stand in the fucking corner. How do you live here that long and not have a Scott Peterson Polar?
I'm out of here.
all right, Nomad, it's you and me now. Now,
just let me know when I can come. Let me know when I can come back, Nomad.
So Steve Sigerman says he's never had one either. What the fuck? What planet y'all living on, man? What are y'all doing out there? Come on.
I was
get
talking
to the store. Go to Mariano's, go to Jewel, go some fucking where and get one.
Yeah, they're not hard to find.
I asked my mom if she had ever had one, and she had. She likes them. And she was kind of telling me that they were more centralized into more of the city surrounding areas and they started to branch out a little more out into the outer suburbs. I mean, where I'm sitting right now at my cousin's house is probably 15 minutes from the border of Wisconsin. So there was a place in Wisconsin that I would go to get a little grocery store that had the best sausage I've ever had. And that's where I got most of my sausages from. I'd go there and buy them in bulk, and when they were gone, they were gone. I'd go up there and get more. So I never really like ventured into the Jewel or the Jewel or Dominic's before Dominic's closed, before I moved, or right after I moved, I mean. Stores like that, like the bigger chain grocery stores that carry that stuff. So I apologize, Nomad, but I did tell you I'm going to buy whatever I see on the shelf and bring them home with me. And I'm not even going to taste them because I believe you. If you're saying they're that good, I'm just going to follow your lead, bro.
And listen, I'm just going to put it to you like this. You don't have to do anything to it. There's a skill to how to cook these things. You just drop them in some water. But if you got to just wait until the casing is unraveled on the end and kind of pumped a little bit, that's when you get it out. But if you let it go any longer, it's going to burst and you're going to lose all that good juice in your water. So it's a method to it, man. I'm just saying, man. A little mustard and ketchup is all you need, or just mustard.
You just said ketchup?
I still have the Daisy hot dogs, Chicago Daisy hot dogs. They've got a plant on the south side. But I still have them shipped down here to me periodically. It costs more for the shipping than it does to buy the hot dogs. It's worth it, though.
Yeah, that's how it is for me, too. It's I was buying rolls of Toronto rolls, had them shipped to my house, and it costs more for the shipping than the rolls because the box is so big, not because of the weight, And that's why I started getting them par-baked from Toronto themselves, and they're a lot cheaper. Also from Amazon.
Wait a minute, Shorty. Renewable Rechargeable Review and Taurine Whitfield just gave you some sage-ass advice right there. Sauteed onions and mustard.
Yes.
That's the way to do it.
That's how you get them at the game. You know what? I might have had one of those at a game somewhere. Like, do they sell those at the Cubs games? No, they probably sell them, like the sausage.
No.
They're probably Maxwell.
Those are probably that's probably Vienna beef. They probably have a Vienna beef probably contract with them, but these Scott Petersons are just as good or better.
I'm taking your word for it, man. I'm going to buy everything I see and bring them all home with me. I promise.
Ask those dudes in the chat. I ain't lying to you.
Renewable and rechargeable energy also says no Euros, no ribs, and no Heralds.
Harold chicken.
I'm sorry, Kitty.
That's some Southside shit.
Yeah, I'm like I said, 15 minutes from the border of Wisconsin up here, so. But I am doing a city trip. We're going down to the city. I'm going to do an Uno's night for the channel. Maybe a Lou Malnati's too to compare the two. But there's so much different food down here. Good food, and the same. Anywhere you go, you can get a different beef, and it's just as good as the last one, but different. Or a different Polish sausage. Even a different hot dog. So it's not all Vienna down here. It's also Chicago Red Hot's another big one too. So there's a lot to choose from.
You could stop at almost any neighborhood bar, get a sandwich or whatever you want from there, and it's going to turn out to be good.
I've been in a lot of places, Cliff, in my life, man. Everywhere across this country. I've eaten the food everywhere, but I've been nowhere where the street food is better than Chicago. The finger foods, your Polishes, your hot dogs, your gyros, your beef sandwiches, all that kind of stuff. Just, oh my Lord, it's unlike anything I've ever tasted anywhere. And people come for different reasons to Chicago. They keep coming back for that shit. They just love it.
And that's why I feel when they get the new stadium built, they need to focus on the food in the stadium and make it more of the Chicago staples. Like whatever you want to call it, even if it's bone of beef, which is the one I just tried for the first time, and it was pretty damn good. It was really good. It was different than Portillo's, but it was really good. Even if something like that was in the stadium, or Lou Malnati's pizza, or Uno, whatever.
I'm sure
Steve just put that comment in there. Steve just put that comment in there. He likes that combo. I do too sometimes. Some people like, you go to different places, you can get red sauce on it. Some people like that shit. It depends on how I'm feeling at the time. I'm with that combo. And other times I just want plain old beef.
Yep.
And I'm sure that for the prices that you pay at the stadiums, that you get some pretty good franchise food. You know, Portillo's or one of the good pizza places. I would definitely prefer that over the standard football food that you see now at Soldier Field.
And you know, there's not a Portillo's very far from you.
I drive an hour to go to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
It's better than 12 hours, or for you, like 18 hours.
Anytime I'm going to Tampa for anything, I stop off and make sure I visit Portillo's.
And don't forget to buy yourself one for later, man. They heat up really well. 2 minutes in the microwave on high. Good to go.
They sell the beef. They sell it in packages.
Yeah.
So you bring it home, you bring the buns home, you bring the peppers home, and I like to add a little bit of mozzarella just because that's my thing. But
Me too.
You know, it's a fantastic memory of home.
What are you saying, Nomad?
No, I was just laughing at Cliff. Cliff said that with the straightest fucking face ever. I drive an hour to go get it. Like, yeah, I do that like it's nothing to it.
Well,
that's an entire hour to get Portillo's.
It's worth it.
Do you like
it is, man. I feel you.
Do you like Lou Malnati's pizza, Cliff?
Sure.
We have the exact recipe. I'll sell it to you.
I actually do make pretty good Chicago deep dish style pizza myself. You know, when I moved down here, Florida is not the land of great restaurants for the most part. So I had to learn to cook myself. So I do make some. As a matter of fact, I have a sirloin roast sous videing in the kitchen right now for tomorrow. So
yeah, you love to barbecue. Yeah,
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stop. That doesn't stop me from heading out to a Chicago place anytime I have the opportunity.
Of course not. I mean, when we came down there to Florida, I got 5 beefs from Portillo's, and I ate them over the course of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Nomad, what were you saying?
No, I was going to tell you guys. I don't know if you know guys that have people or friends that have business tax IDs. And you can order this stuff. Like I got Vienna au jus downstairs in tubs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because my mother owns a bar, you know, that's how I hook it up, man. She's got a tax ID, and they only sell it to people like that for business purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So hook it up, get yourself some.
And stay tuned for more Bears Country shorts of the journey that I'm taking through back home to the game and all the different foods I'm going to kind of just show you that I like to eat. And to be honest, the Home Depot hot dog didn't look that good, but it really is that good. The next hot dog I'm going to show you from this place called Fratello's up by us is, wait till you see the picture of it. It's like the most beautiful hot dog I've ever seen. And it's the best tasting one. It's a drive for anyone in this. But there's so many all over the place. It doesn't really matter. It's just, that's mine. So
it's pretty hard to pick up a hot dog anyway.
No shit, but it is in other states.
Hey, 3 hours mentions that I look like I've had a few. Well, I have been in the sun all day. My air conditioner went out today, so it was just as hot inside the house as it was outside the house.
Oh God, that's awful.
Unfortunately, I haven't really gotten started yet, but I do have a little bit of tequila ready to go.
Yeah, and I got just for you tonight. I got some Jameson tonight just for you, Nomad. So you and I can have some Jameson together.
I'm doing it right now. I'm about to lift it right now. Damn it, as we speak.
All right, let's just do a cheers, and then we'll get on to some Bears conversation.
Too late. I drunk it.
1, 2, 3, cheers.
Cheers.
To Bears kicking the Niners' ass. All right.
I'll drink to that any day of the week. That's going to happen. Before
we start, go ahead, Nomad.
No, I missed the joke. I was going to say, Cliff, you'll drink to anything right now. But go ahead, man.
Before we get into the Bears Niners, let's kind of talk about. I did my rant about Ted Phillips on the drive down here. I'm curious to know what you guys think of Ted Phillips retiring and who you possibly think could be replacing him. I'd also like to know, like, in your thoughts, why now? Why not after the stadium is built? I'll go to you first, Cliff.
You know, I was wondering about that when I saw the news, because it seems like Phillips is involved with the stadium. So why isn't he going to stay another 4 or 5 years and see the whole deal through? So
right.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. So it's hard to say. As
That is
far as
very curious, right? Yeah.
yes, definitely. As far as replacements for him, the one that I like, of course, is Cliff Stein. Because he's good at his job. I mean, he's another money guy, sort of, where he negotiates contracts and things like that. But he's good at it. So if you're good at something, maybe the next thing you do, you're going to be good at it again. Some people are a little concerned that because he's so good at negotiating, if he moves up, that they're going to have a hard time. But he can hire somebody else. He can train him to do what he does. So that's somebody that I like. Another one who'd be very difficult to get is Trace Armstrong. Look what he did. He's just a Bear, and then suddenly he's some kind of rich executive multimillionaire agent. So he's doing something right. So I have no idea if the Bears could ever pull him away from his job and lifestyle, but if they could, he has got a lot of football knowledge and a lot of football contacts. Mm-hmm. Then one other name that I've heard of is the lady who is here. Let me make sure I get her name right. It's Karen Murphy, and she's the chief financial officer right now. So she's another money person, and I don't know that much about her, but those are the three names I've heard. So we'll see what happens probably sometime next February.
What are your thoughts, Nomad?
Well, it's the whole situation with that guy is, everybody's turning him into some kind of Batman villain or some shit. I don't really know. I've been away from home for a good while, and I haven't been paying close attention to the goings on of the president, Ted, whatever his name is, Sweaty Teddy, whatever the fuck you call him. But it's neither here nor there with me. It's because a president is two different things that can happen here. You can have a guy that's a president that works on the really firm administrative side of doing marketing and promoting and selling the merchandise, that kind of guy. Or you can have a president and director of football operations. If they're going to bring a guy in, I just want to know if that guy is going to have anything to do with the football operation. Is he qualified? That's all I care about. I could care less about all these names out here. I just want somebody that can get in line with what they have going on currently and is competent. That's all I care about. All the names, I really don't know too much about a lot of these guys. Don't really care too much for Ted Phillips. I'm just glad he's getting out the win. Hopefully, if they're going to put somebody in that spot, we get a competent football guy that knows the fuck he's doing and can get in line and in tune with what's going on currently. That's all I care about.
Me too. Just get a football guy in there. Just get a football guy in there. Go ahead, Cliff.
Pretty much.
Well, I was going to ask your thoughts on it, but I am happy to see that Phillips is going. If some fans sort of don't like the McCaskies, a similar number of fans don't like Ted Phillips in the job. And he's been with the Bears about 40 years, I think. Been president of the team for 20-something. I forget the exact number. But he's been there a long time, and he's never given us a championship while he was boss. So it's definitely time to get somebody else.
He hasn't really done much other than negotiate a bad deal for a new stadium rebuild of Soldier Field, because if somebody would have been competent enough in his position, they would have said, no, we can't rent the fucking stadium from the park district. We have to go out and build our own stadium and build our own revenue from that stadium. The Bears are currently ranked the fourth highest ranked team as far as their value at like $4 billion. And they don't own their own fucking stadium. So imagine when they get this new stadium built and it doesn't even matter if they have a winning season or not. It's like as soon as a stadium is built, they're automatically going to go to number one because of the fan base, because of their iconism, their history. They're a charter franchise, and they're sitting there at number 4, worth $4 billion currently, and they don't own their own stadium. I mean, there's no choice but for them to move out of there and because you can't change anything with the park district owns the stadium. So when you start looking into park, I mean, I'm sure you know about this, Cliff. You work in real estate now. I'm sure you know that when the park district owns the stadium, they can't just sell it to them. It's part of the park district. So it would always, that property will always remain part of the Chicago Park District. So the Bears have no choice but to move out of there.
Well, rather than only take 50% of the profits from the stadium activities, they have to get their own stadium. I mean, most of it will probably end up being paid for by the people. You know, it's usually how it works. The city is going to be very interested in getting them there. That would be a huge draw for Arlington Heights for a lot of various reasons. So they're going to be doing what they can to get it. The traffic situation's a lot better up that way. The parking would be a lot better. You know, what's there to argue with about? I think it's about time. Soldier Field can be used for other purposes for Chicago, and they can find some. They could find some kind of way to make up the tax loss by not getting the Bear money.
Absolutely. Nomad, anything to that?
I'll be real short. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This is a boring fucking topic to me. But if I had anything to say about being in Soldier Field, it's way past due to get out of there because because every good thing comes to an end. We had history there, and people will never forget that history. They're turning into a historical landmark or something, whatever they want to do with that thing. But I'm pro player. So I think about football players before I think about anything else. I start with the basics. And that field is shit. And I hate the fact that they got to go out there and play on it. I mean, I don't know how many, if any, injuries could be attributed to that field thus far, but I'm sure there has been. That field is a piece of shit. And I hate it for those players. Other than that, that's just how I feel about that place. It's just time to move on. But I just care about how these players, their bodies responding to that field out there.
Have you ever played on this new grass that they have? Like that's in. I had the chance to walk on the Mercedes-Benz grass, and it was actually pretty interesting. I think it would be fun to play, or it would be okay to play on as far as your health wise, your ligaments and stuff.
Yes, it's great. It's fucking great. It's got bounce to it. It's got give to it. It's the only thing that you don't like about it is all the little beads on it, the stuff that they put under it to kind of fluff it up and keep it kind of bouncy. But man, if you're an athletic person and you the first time you touch a surface like that in a pair of cleats, you feel like you're kind of running on like a thin mattress or something, man. I mean, you can really move on that shit. So yes, it's a really good surface if you don't have the right kind of grass to suit your stadium. I would say take that over everything, that synthetic grass. Yeah.
Even being tackled on it too, right? More bounce to the hitting the ground.
You're not getting up all scraped up and burnt and all that shit. I played on both surfaces, man. The AstroTurf and on that stuff. So yeah, that synthetic grass is that's like a godsend kind of.
Technology at its finest, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Really is.
With the state of the art for technology, why are they still, okay, it's great to have history and everything, but look at all the injuries that happen with bad turf. You may as well take advantage of the state of the art new stuff. Keep some players healthy.
Mm-hmm. So
yes.
Transitioning from that, like going into this opening Niners week, how do you guys feel about this game? We've obviously been exhausting ourselves for a long time in the off season, all the dead time, to get to this point now where we have the opening week of the season coming up this Thursday. And I'm just curious to know, like, where you guys' vibes are right now. Like, how do you feel about the team? How do you feel about the Niners that we're playing? I kind of listened to some Niners podcasts to get their thoughts on things. And, of course, they're shitting all over us too. So, what do you guys think? I'll go with you, Nomad, first.
No, I'll let Cliff go. He's the guest.
Oh, thanks, Nomad. I'm really looking forward to this game because we don't know where the Bears are at yet. I mean, we've seen good things in the preseason. Justin Fields looked great in the first half, but it's a preseason game. It's against the twos. What's he going to do against that 49ers defense? I mean, they actually do have a great defense. And as far as their scoring abilities, you know, the one thing that I'm not sure about is Trey Lance. I had him in fantasy last year, and I dumped his ass off my team. You know, he just did not do much. So everybody talks him up like he's going to be the next great quarterback. I just haven't seen any of it yet. So what's going to happen with him? So you got the two quarterbacks going at each other. We just had a fantasy football draft last night, and I picked up Deebo Samuel. So I'm very happy to have him. So who's going to be covering him? What do you think, Nomad? Who's going to cover Deebo?
That could be a variety of people. You know, you would, a guy like that, depends on who's playing the slot. I think the slot corner just follows him. But, you know, I'm going to try to take you guys into my way of thinking when it came down to breaking down this game and how I thought it might play out. I go all the way back to last year. I go all the way back to the decision they made somehow that they were going to move on from Garoppolo. So they knew that for some time, right?
Yeah.
However, they neglected to give Trey Lance the kind of snaps that he was going to need to move forward into this season in a seamless manner. And so for that, I think they will suffer. I think they missed an opportunity to get him kind of, you know, flowing and going with the whole situation so it kind of be seamless for him, and they missed it. And so therefore, I believe wholeheartedly that this defense is going to give him all kinds of hell, and they're going to stuff the run, and they're going to make him beat them from the pocket. They'll spy him, and they're going to make him throw the ball, and he's going to play right into our hands, and Justin's going to play a decent game. Running backs are going to have a pretty decent game. Well, I ain't going to say they don't have a great game. That's a great defensive front. But we'll have to run the ball, and we have to prove to them that we're going to be able to run the ball. But all things being said, I think that's going to be the key. That whole thing with Trey Lance and him not having enough snaps previously is going to doom them in the end.
I guess the question comes down to what is better, more experience in the same offense in the case of Trey Lance, or more experience playing the game in the case of Justin Fields. And we're going to see that play out in this game this weekend because we're going to see Trey Lance in his first – this would be his first start, I believe, right? He didn't start a game last year, did he? That I know of? Could be wrong, but I believe it's his first start ever in the first game of the season. There's going to be – For lots of even veteran quarterbacks, those are clunky games sometimes. You're still trying to get your feet under you, and but you know he has the advantage of being in the same offense for his second year. With Justin Fields, we have him playing a lot more last year, kind of shining some of the things that he did and showing what he can do. And now he's coming out in his second year with a new head coach, which to me does kind of give an advantage because, as I've said a million times to exhaustion, there's nothing to game plan from other than what you think that they're going to do based on your own offense. So there's no, like, you can't find the tendencies in the offensive coordinator like you would be able to find in game 8 or game, 5. So right out of the gates, I think the advantage is Bears, even though for some fucking ridiculous reason, they're 7.5-point underdogs at home, which makes no sense to me.
The rest of the league.
Can I chime in right quick?
Sure, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say real quick, man, listen, and I'm going to save this for a rant later on, but I'm going to give you a little snippet. Listening to these experts and now whatever these people do on TV, man, that is such a waste of your time. There's so many, they are going to open up on this team, man. They're going to really open up. They're going to get after that dude. And I believe it's going to be a nice ass kicking going on out there because luckily Trey Lance isn't in front of the San Fran crowd, because by the time they get to that stadium, if he's as bad as he's probably going to look in our stadium, they're going to be crying for Jimmy G. and it's going to be a controversy down there. So I see that coming early. Sorry, man.
Could be. Definitely could be. And that's why I want to see the game. I mean, we just don't know yet. We think that we have a team that's being built well, that's being coached well, that's on the way up. But until we see them win some actual NFL regular season games, we don't know. And the rest of the league, they didn't pick up any of the Bears' cuts. Not one was picked up by any other team.
Right.
The media, the national media, I was talking with one of the guys, I forget what site it was, but anyways, he disagreed with me and said the Bears have the worst O-line in football. And I was wondering, have you even watched the games? It doesn't seem to be the worst to me. Maybe it's 20th, maybe it's 22nd at the moment, but it's not 32nd. So I want to see the game. I want to see what happens. Now, Shorty, what are you going to be bringing to the program for the game? What's going to be happening?
Well, first, just to piggyback on what you said, we're undefeated. We don't know what we're going to see yet. The games haven't been played, right? Just like you said, Cliff.
Right.
So once you get into game one, you get into game two, you start to build, and you start to build, and you start to build. There's going to be some clunkiness in the first game. There always is for every single team. But you build upon that. And I think that what they have in this coaching staff is only going to continue to build on that and make them better as they go. I mean, to answer your question, the 49ers game, I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm back home in Illinois. One thing I've noticed about, and maybe I didn't notice it, it might just be my own theory. I feel like this, the obsession with Bears content on YouTube and the absolutely astonishing amount of fandom that we have grown on Bears Country Podcast. And this is our 6-week mark tonight. And we have how many people in chat here, So we're putting out the content that I think people that want to see it aren't living in the state. As I said before, you get all your news from NBC and Comcast Sports here and stuff like that. So anyone that moves out of state, they don't have instant availability to that post-game stuff like you do living here in Illinois. And coming up here to go to the 49ers game, and we're going to do some podcasts and stuff. It's going to be an amazing day for Bears Country Podcast on Sunday during the Bears game, because we're going to be down there live and Soldier Field with our backdrop. We're going to be talking to fans. It's going to be unprecedented as far as I personally know of. I don't know if there's anybody else that does this in the podcast world for their teams, but it's going to be not only an amazing rest of the week with the food content, the favorite food places that we go to, or that I'm going to go to, my favorite food places, and it's just my opinion. And then we're going to get down and do all this live stuff for the Bears-Niners game with the fans. Everyone, you're going to love the content that's going to come out of this channel on that day, especially if you don't live in the state and you're starving for that information because you can't find that kind of stuff that you're looking for anywhere else. We are going to give that to you here on Bears Country Podcast. So make sure that you like and subscribe and set your notifications. And by the way, we are now, I would say pretty much officially, Nomad, if you disagree, officially Bears Country Podcast in association with Barroom Network. So make sure you go over to Barroom Network and check out all the content that they have there on their channel for the Bears, because they have the other 4 days of the week covered on a weekly schedule live. And what they do over there is amazing stuff, and we're just honored to be associated with them. So thank you again, Barroom Network. Nomad, I mean, give me some, add some shit to that, man. What do you think about? Just give us some Barroom love.
Well, first, let me be our agreement with the Barroom and our deal with the Barroom is only to get more out of what we have going on here. It's not going to end anything we have going on here. We will still broadcast from right here. We will be in the bar room as well. So it's just a joint arrangement, and it's going to get better from that. But with all that being said, fuck that shit. I want to get back to the football. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man, and this is just me. I've been back in Illinois probably 5 years now. And the first thing I picked up on when I got and started looking at these podcasts and looking at all the, reporting and all the stories coming out about the Bears, and I understand it. It's a whole lot of pessimism because we haven't had a winner in quite a while.
Right.
But I just want you guys to take this from me, and this is coming from my heart. I've been around a winning organization, been a part of one, seen what it looks like. I see the walks, the talks, the body language, the energy around the team. And anybody that's been a part of a winning organization knows what I'm talking about right off the bat. It has a certain feel to it. It's an energy. And I'm telling you guys, it's almost like you all are scared to believe again.
Right.
Wipe that shit clean, man. I'm telling you, it's there. It is there. And they're going to let you know early that they are not to be trifled with. I'm telling you, these guys know what they're doing. That GM does, these coaches do, and they put together 53 guys that are all bought in together. And I'm telling you, give me 53 against 53 standard guys bought in against any of your marquee name guys on any team that's just put together, and I'll walk your ass all up and down that field all day, every day. And I'm telling you, that's what we have with this team. So everything I'm telling you right now, I'm still sticking to 11-6. I believe it because I see it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Cliff?
I don't know if I'm quite at the 11-6 level. I mean, you guys know how I feel in the chat. I see you guys are both on the same page. I am more at I see no less than 7 wins. Nagy got 6, and the team is not going to be worse than the Nagy team was. There have been so many improvements to it since he left. Actually, the Bears are undefeated since Nagy left.
Yeah.
If you count the preseason games. So I figure 7 is the low, and I will give you guys the 11 for the high. And I'm hoping that you do have that right, because that means the Bears are probably going to be in the playoffs. Will that happen this year? We'll see. I think the Bears are moving in the right direction, but things that I see from people that have good knowledge of football make me think twice about it. We may have another year to go before we're actually ready to compete with the big boys again.
Steve Sigmund says the Bears need better players and more talent. He's calling 6 and 11. And
how about every team in the league needs that?
Yeah. No shit. That's why anything can happen, man. Listen, Aaron Rodgers could get injured in the first game of the season. And then Justin Fields could have a MVP candidate season. I mean, we can go on the what ifs all day and all night. It's the fact is we are currently, as we stand, undefeated, like you said, Cliff, in more ways than one. Not only the preseason, but the season hasn't started yet, so we're still undefeated. So the optimism we're allowed to run high with right now. And before you start to see things develop in real time, injuries, this, that, Packers' loss of most of their receiving core and starting over again with a lot of rookies and things like that. Those are variables that have to come into account, as they do every single season. Every single season is new, and it's nice to have the hope and just to listen. I'll stand by this, and if I'm wrong, maybe I'll plan something for myself to eat crow. Just because I stand by my conviction, and I know Nomad does too. So I'd rather be, somebody that people look at and go, they kind of the negative press in that way is just as good as the positive press, right? Because people go, "Oh, fucking 11-6. I got a million things to say about that. Why you're wrong on that." But it doesn't matter. I could say the same thing to a 6-11 record to Steve, too. So it's just fun to do this now before the season starts. Then we start to see everything play out in real time. Injuries happen, blah 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 happens, blah blah blah. All of a sudden, the coach is fired mid-season. You never know what the league is. It constantly changes every year, and it's never the same. And that's what's so fun about the NFL.
It's only going to take one game before we have a pretty good idea. If the Bears come out and do what they did in preseason against the 2s, but if they do that against the 1s now and they end up winning the game, we're going to have a pretty good idea what kind of team we have. And maybe the rest of the league is going to be trying to figure out what went wrong with the 49ers rather than what went right with the Bears.
Thank you. Exactly. Did you see what Jordan just said, Nomad? Pull that back up, Kitty.
What did he say?
Read it. If the Bears win 11 games, I'll kiss Nomad's anonymous ass.
He can kiss it with week old draws on too.
I sense some bets coming up here.
It's a week old draws on too. Make sure you don't wipe for a couple of sessions too.
Well, you got it coming. You get anywhere near my ass, Jack, you're gonna kiss it because these dudes gonna be. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. One thing about a football team is, or any team, whether it be any team, is it only takes just a little bit of discouragement and outside noise and little things that actually give them bulletin board material to really turn on a bunch of guys that have been working their asses off and knowing what we're looking at with each other in practice. We're looking at each other every day and we knowing what we can do. And we got all these people on the outside of the building talking, oh, they don't have this, they don't have that. These guys, man, you know what? That's just fueling those guys. And for a while there, I wasn't clear if that was really getting through to that locker room until probably the last month or so. Now it's starting to leak out and they're starting to tell you that we've been hearing all that shit and we got something for you. Listen to Darnell Mooney. Listen to Justin Fields. They are fucking hearing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
They're leaders on that team and they got something for people, man. That team has got plenty of talent on it. Like I said, the marquee names are not there. Who gives a fuck about those dudes? As long as you get out there and you can play, it doesn't matter what the names are.
And everyone on the team has already talked about buying in, right? And you buy in and you build an identity with that, right? Cliff, this was something you kind of had some notes on, like the identity of the team, building the identity of the team. Like, what do you think that identity is going to look like to get to 11-6? Just give us a little reason why you think we can get to 11-6 per Nomad and I, even though that you don't feel that way, based on the identity of the team.
Sure. Nagy had no identity with the team. You didn't know what the Bears were trying to do. You know, I mean, he'd come out and run one wacky play, and then he'd do something completely stupid, and then he'd get in a fight with a player on the sideline. What kind of identity is that?
Right.
Now you've got Eberflus as a defensive coordinator history. So he's going to be coming out there. He's going to want to win with defense. And, you know, everybody who's born or raised or has even driven through Chicago knows the Bears are about defense. So let's continue that. And then I started saying this in the chats months ago, right when they signed Blasingame. I said, all right, they signed a fullback. They're going to run this year. Now they have basically 3 fullbacks on the team. If you consider some guys that can play a tight end or a fullback. Mm-hmm. So with 3 fullbacks on the team, they're definitely going to be running. So I see an old style Bears identity with the Bears running the football, the Bears playing hard defense, and then add a future, hopefully this year beginning, franchise quarterback to that mix. That's what I see for the future Bears. What do you think, Nomad?
Well, listen, man, I've said a lot, and I mean it. I mean every fucking word I said. I'll stand by it. I'm not backing down off of anything. And you guys, football is a fundamentally simple game. if you are effective at
Right.
running the football, it opens up everything you want to do in your playbook. That's number one. If you are an effective defense, if you can get your defense off the field and limited the amount of time a defense spends out there, which the Bears did not do the last 2 or 3 years, you stand a pretty good chance of winning football games. If you can take the ball away while you're doing that, you offer the offense extra bites at the apple, which all I'm saying right now, I've seen that ability. I've seen those traits in this team. Everything I'm saying, they have the ability to do. They have the ability to put that formula together and be successful. There's no reason why they can't be. So anybody want to doubt my 11-6? Fine, I don't blame you. That's because you just lost your faith, man. You just lost your faith. That's all. I've been around successful football teams, and I kind of know what it looks like. And I'm telling you, man, these guys know what they're doing, and they're putting something pretty decent together.
The key words that you said there were fundamentally simple. Football is not that fucking hard, man. When you start making it difficult, you start making it difficult for the players. And when you're making players think too much, the game becomes, it doesn't slow down for them. It's still going too fast. So when you start to buy into this identity that this team is now building, and we've all seen it with our own eyes, I've said it before, they're starting to change our fans' perspective. The fans are buying into the hits principle ourselves. We're like, yeah, we see it. We see Eddie Jackson coming out looking like he doesn't want to talk about the hits principle because he thinks it's a joke, to like the glowing smile on his face just a couple months later, talking about how he loves the hits principle, things like that. So keeping it fundamentally simple, like you said, Nomad, allows you to play with speed, allows you to play without thinking. It's just see ball, get ball, and we have already seen in a very short period of time the results of that on the field, in the press room, from these players who have bought in.
And that's a very good point. When the players are buying in and they're playing as a team, they're playing with very few penalties, they're playing with discipline. With the Nagy team, you would see guys go out and they'd be basically lining up in the wrong spot, running the wrong direction. Compared to this team, where even with all the new players, they're still playing like a veteran professional team would look, rather than as a brand new team.
8 penalties in the entire preseason. That's like a game for Nagy last year.
Exactly. So I give the coaches a lot of credit. I think the entire coaching staff that's been put together is better than anything we have had, at least back to the Lovey years.
I would agree with that. I'm sure you do too, right, Nomad? I mean,
I keep, yeah. It's almost when you go from a guy like Matt Nagy, and I'm not going to sit here and drive him into the ground. I'm not going to do that.
We've already done that, yeah.
Yeah, we've done all that. It's a big difference. You heard me say Matt Eberflus is an old school coach because I grew up around coaches like him. Like I said before, we kind of used to laugh at coaches like that until you get used to his tactic and his style and why he does the things that he does. He keeps it very, very simple and just focuses on the very minute things that make football players into an average player or a great player. It makes you'll find out what you have as a football player with coaches like that, because they're going to stress that little shit, like form tackling and running through a person and driving your feet while you're doing it. That kind of thing that old school fundamental coaches teach. And when you have a whole 53-man roster that has bought into that attitude and way of going about things, pretty quick into this season, you guys are going to find out that stuff has sunk in and hit home with these guys. And you're going to see them play like that. And it's right away you're going to see the difference in that team. You started to see it in the preseason, But that little thing like that, those little things like that, is going to be the difference between us winning and losing. And we're on the right side of things right now.
And that's some of the things you saw in, I forget what the player was that said that in the press conference, just about how that has completely changed in their perspective. Like when the ball is, even though somebody may have dropped it or dropped a like a wide receiver dropped a pass, the defense is picking it up and pretending they're still hustling to the ball on the ground, pretending it's a turnover and grabbing it and trying to go to the end zone with it. They're doing that in practice. So all that's going to translate to the field when we see it in real time in a real game. And it's only going to get better over the course of time. And it's so refreshing to finally have this feeling again. I know we all had the false feeling of the Nagy era after the first season, but we never even had this kind of feeling going into the first game with Nagy as we did now with this regime. Because what did that regime do? It taught us what a false, what's the difference between a head coach and an insurance salesman, right? We've learned something from that as fans, and now we're seeing it transpire just in a simple couple of preseason games and training camp and OTAs, and the excitement building towards this first game has all come from that. I cannot wait just to get this damn first game over with, because I really have no thoughts in my mind that we're going to lose this game. I have none. We're already 1-0 in my head.
I tried to like Nagy. It was easy at the start. The team was doing well. And then as time went on, he wasn't telling us the truth. I mean, most of us know quite a bit about football. And we know when someone is giving us BS or if they're actually telling us the way things are with the team. And
Right.
That's when Nagy lost me, because he was just shooting the BS at us rather than telling us bad things about the team.
Right.
So now one thing Flus is doing, Wednesday, he's announcing the captains for the team. And there are going to be 4 permanent captains. So he's not going to rotate them around,
Right.
Which is stupid, rotating captains. Get your leaders and let them lead. And then he's also going to have one captain come in, one honorary captain come in each week. And this is how you could reward somebody that had a good game the week before. So I think it's a great method of splitting it up, get your captains set, and they're going to be there all year, and then reward people each week and make them go for that reward. Maybe that'll be better than Club Dub was.
Yeah.
Being an honorary captain may be a better thing than Club Dub.
You're damn right about that. Guys. Go ahead, Nomad.
You know something? And I don't want this to get left out in this whole conversation, because it's as important as anything we've talked about thus far. And that is his emphasis on team conditioning. Mm-hmm. And if I were to ask you two guys, you guys, I'm sure both of you guys have played some level of football. I know you have, Shorty, mm-hmm. But Cliff, I don't think most people quite understand how important being able to have gas for 4 entire quarters without being fatigued, how much of a difference, how much of a change late in the game that could make. I don't think people quite understand that, and this guy can't come right in the door, let it be known that we're going to be the best conditioned team in the league, and it's going to show on that fucking football field. Do you quite understand what that means, guys? I just want to know.
Yes, definitely. Actually, I played weekend football with a bunch of guys as I was growing up, but I was on the tennis team. All right, don't make fun of tennis until you try.
Are you fucking kidding me? Tennis? Cut his fucking video feed, Kitty.
Hey, you go out there and play 3 sets of tennis, and then
get the fuck out of here with your tennis.
As Nomad says, if you're not in condition by that 3rd set, you are falling down while you're trying.
It's true, man. You're running your ass off playing tennis, man. You got to be conditioned. That's the only fucking reference to tennis I ever been to hear on this podcast from you.
Hey, it's the same thing with same thing with basketball. With basketball, you have to catch that second win because you're dying. You know, halfway through the first quarter.
For sure, man.
You're dying.
Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on, man. During breaks, when you get tired and go to the side when you're playing tennis back, what do you drink? Tang or something? What do you drink?
Tab.
I did drink Tab. It was a great product at the time.
So my mom loved Tab.
Tab keeps you alive. The chemicals in it preserve your body.
My mom would probably still drink Tab if it was still around today.
Right.
Oh yeah, Cliff, don't tell nobody else that shit, please, man. Don't do it.
I just kind of want to note. That there's a lot of chat going on, and we love that. Thank you guys for joining us. One of the people here in chat, his name is Vaughn. He reached out to us at bearscountrypodcast@gmail.com to come on the show the same way that Cliff did. So anyone that wants to come on the show with us, Leo Factor, Renewable and Rechargeable, Taurine, Tiff, Jordan's. We're talking to Jordan about doing something with Jordan, some special stuff with Jordan in the future. So fuck him because he's already part of the Byron Network and part of us. So anybody else that's in chat.
We would love to see a lady's voice on here, man. We need to see some Lady Bears fans, man. We need y'all. Come on.
Yeah, it's Tiff. Are you a female? Send us if you are, send us an email at bearscountrypodcast@gmail.com. Come on the show and talk some Bears with us, man. That's what Kitty nailed it with the opener tonight. We need more female content on here. We're trying to broaden the fan base, man. We know there's female Bears fans out there. Come out to Bears Country Podcast and oh, awesome, she is female. But I don't know anything about football. Well, thank you for watching.
You ain't got to know everything about football. Just come and join the show.
You're going to come talk shit with us, just like we are right now.
Right.
Tiff, as a lady, I'm sure you would be way more popular than I am on here.
I'm wondering, right. Tiff, do you know me? Do I know you? Because I do know somebody named Tiffany, but she would have gone by Tuffy if I would have thought correctly. But maybe she has a different. But if I do know her, she'd be a good. She does know Bears content. If that is the Tiff that I think I know, or who it might be, she does know Bears football. She can come out here and talk shit with us as long as she wants.
She don't even have to show her face. She just come on the show just like I am, and just let your voice be heard. Just let your voice be heard. Come on and talk some Bears shit with us, man. This is what we're doing. This is about the fans, for the fans. You know, for people that can't get the content that they want, you come to Bears Country Podcast, you're going to get it. It's an awesome show, man. Thank you,
Shorty,
guys.
You started out in the chat. Nomad, you started out in the chat. I'm big in the chat, you know, and
you started out in the chat. Now you're here with us,
which is amazing. You know, never thought I'd be on a podcast. You know, at 60 years old, and I got a different new experience now. So it's a lot of fun. So you guys in the chat, you know, it scares the crap out of you when the thing finally shows up that you're on the podcast. But, you know, a few minutes later, you settle in, and it's fun just to talk the football. So any of you guys that are on the fence about doing it, you know, go ahead and do it. Why not? You know,
worst
you'll do is suck really bad, and then it's funny.
Yeah.
That's right, Cliff. You see, everybody see Cliff right there, man. See, that guy had the nerve and the courage to get out there and put his Bears info out on Front Street. See what Tang can do for you? Look at Cliff.
And talk about
Tang does for a minute.
Started like Renewable Rechargeable says, started from the bottom and now you're here. Like this has been this is our 6th week doing Bears Country Podcast, and we got 21 people watching right now live. And all this talk going on in chat. We love you guys. We appreciate you so much. Thank you all so much, including you, Cliff. Without you, we would not be here right now. We are because of you, and we want to continue to involve you more and more in it because it is about you. So anyone else that wants to come on, like I said, Vaughn, who's in chat, he reached out to us. We're going to have him on soon one day. And anyone else, just bearscountrypodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. Do it. It's a lot of fun.
It's addictive, right, Cliff? You're like, can I be your like regular co-host?
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, I am enjoying it so far. I mean,
what, you don't want to be a co-host? What the fuck, Cliff?
well, what's the pay grade for that?
Friendship.
Yes. I mean, I still have to work, so I do enjoy talking Bears, though, and with your show being on in the evenings, it makes it a lot easier for me to be here. So now, with you guys joining Barroom, that's going to be big, both for Barroom and for you guys. Jordan's another chat guy. I mean, he's on Barroom now. We get a lot of in-depth information from him. You guys cover basically a whole general range of topics about the Bears. You cover food. You remind me of my kids when you had your cast going while you were driving on the road. My kids call me when they have a 3-hour ride and they start talking for an hour. So that was fun to watch. So
thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. That was fun to do. By the time this whole 2-week experience is over, I'll probably do a one on the road home, road trip home too, because it bides the time. I'm just sitting there driving, looking at a straight road. If I'm talking to my wife or I'm talking to Nomad or I'm talking to you on the phone, Cliff, with my earbuds in, it's no different. Might as well just put up the video feed and we can have people come in and talk shit with us, and Kitty Cat can read off what everyone's saying in the comments like she did. That was a fun show. That was probably one of my most favorite to do, because it took care of a good hour and a half of time, and it was a lot of fun to do, and I hope everyone enjoys it because it's very unusual.
and that's the word for it, unusual. It's not the same style of podcast that you see all the time. So new and refreshing. So to this Niners game, like, where do you think where do you think that's going to happen in this game here, Cliff? Like, how do you feel about this Niners game? How do you feel about that defensive line coming? Joey Bosa going against a rookie 5th round offensive tackle from a small school. How do you feel about Jenkins starting at right guard for the first time and only having a little limited experience? What's going to happen with this new pickup that we got? And what's his name again? I'm drawing a blank. Overstreet? Who's the guy that we just Nomad? Help me out there. I'm drawing a blank. It's the fucking
talking about the guy from the defensive line.
It's the Jameson that you get that I'm drinking because of you.
You talking about the guy we picked up on the D line?
No, the offensive line, guard, tackle.
Oh,
Leatherwood.
Leatherwood.
Also Leatherwood, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are on those subjects. Offensive line. What do you think about it, Cliff?
All right, I watched the games the first time just to enjoy them, but then I generally go back, replay them, slow motion, the whole type of thing. And I watched the offensive line a lot. And at the start, it was bad, not good at all. But this third game, they definitely seem to gel. It seems like Flus and the rest of the coaches are finding the better guys and finding spots to put them in. Moving Jenkins to right guard was genius. He was failing at tackle, but he's doing great at guard in only a week or two. So I think that there's a lot of competition between the Bears on the offensive line, which, it's a good thing. It's going to make them all better. We're going to have to wait and see exactly how good they are, because like I said, other media around the league are saying worst offensive line in the league. I don't see that, but I also am a realist where when Joey Bosa is going at any rookie, that rookie is going to be in trouble. So I'm hoping that Flus gives him a lot of help with chips from the guard or chips from the tight end, maybe double team sometime, just to keep Bosa out of the backfield on every play. Now, once again, since in this first game, we're going to have to see what happens. And the offensive line is a big point of that. I think a lot of us said offensive line was the most important need before the season began. So let's find out how far along they are, and then let's let them all play together for 10 games and turn into a really good unit, just like Kansas City did with Kansas City had a terrible offensive line. Now they have a good offensive line, and they did it in one season.
Depth. We've been building some depth on that line. Like, how do you feel about that, Nomad?
Well, this is what my know-how tells me and my senses tells me about this whole situation with our offensive line. I can't argue with anybody who thinks that this might be the worst offensive line in the league, but I can argue with you at the same time. This is why. The reason why I could partly side with an argument like that is because we played so much musical chairs during the preseason and OTAs with, putting guys in different places and trying out different guys. I thought was probably 2 weeks too long. I thought they should have settled those situations a little bit early. That's just how I felt about it. But I'm not in that locker room. I'm not one of the coaches. And apparently, I'm just going to give these guys the benefit of the doubt that they know what they're doing. Moving past that, what happens is once they have solidified that line, which they have, they know who's going to be playing where. Now they're using this week or this past weekend to get in tune with each other and learn how to play on a string, learning how to understand each other and make sure that we're a unit and not just 5 guys out there just playing football. We know what to do. We're not paying attention to the guys in front of us. We just got to concentrate on what we need to do. It doesn't matter what the team is, who the team is, or who those guys are that are playing across from you. We know what we have to do as a unit. So that gelling process is happening right now as we speak. Right. More than likely, most of it off the field. They're communicating with each other, and they're telling each other different things to look forward to and different things to pay attention to. And by the time we get to week 1, I believe they'll be in good enough shape to go out there and function well as a unit. And it's going to get better throughout the season. So, you might have a few hits and misses there, but I don't think nobody's going to be out there getting their ass kicked for no 4 quarters. You can forget that shit. They'll be better than that. But that offensive line is going to get better and better and better as long as they stay healthy, knock on wood.
And Shorty, what do you think about the running backs behind the new line, the line blocking down, the running backs finding the holes? How do you think it's going to look?
Well, Monty is a stud. I mean, I have zero doubts that Monty is going to come out just kicking ass this season. I think he's a lot shiftier. Sometimes you want that running back to just hit the hole like Herbert does, but sometimes you really need that running back who sees all the different lanes in his vision like Monty does. And he has the natural ability to make all these crazy cuts. And not only that, but he plays more as an offensive, like he's offensive as a running back. Offense means you're supposed to be offensive. Defense means you're supposed to be defensive, right? And I've said this before. I see a little bit of my guy right here in Monty, because he is out to kick your ass first and take questions later, right? He attacks his running style with the same tenacity that Walter Payton did, meaning he's going to try to take you out first before you can take him out. He's going to try to get you off of your balance before you can get him off yours, surprise you before he can you. And that's the thing I love the most about him. Now you insert that kind of talent into this running game. Yeah, sometimes you need to just hit those lanes and go, but sometimes those lanes close up quick because the team has a good linebacker there that just closed in on it and caved in that hole that he was about to burst through. And his ability to be shifty in those moments and cut in and out, then take that guy head on who's coming at him, put him on his ass, and keep going. Yeah, he doesn't have he's not blazing speed. He doesn't have 4.2 speed, but he has done one thing that you don't see much of. Is people gain speed after they enter the NFL. Gaining speed. That's not something you see a lot of. So somehow he managed to do it with his training. He's going to be the bell cow of this team. I hope, at least. I might be wrong. They might be they're obviously going to be moving around parts in the running back room during the game. So Khalil Herbert offers that different dynamic to the running game. that where he just hits those holes quickly. So you got that 1-2 punch going there, and he is just as quick, if not quicker, than Monty. Then you throw in Ebner to that mix, and then he's going to be playing. I see a lot of screens from him. I see a lot of motion shifts where he's moving into a slot receiver, and they're throwing him the ball. Like, he's going to add this extra dynamic to the team in the running back room. That's something that I think that we have missed since Tariq Cohen left, but in a better fashion because he's a bigger guy and maybe not as fast or as quick, but probably just as fast if you were to compare the straight line speed in a race, right? Like, what do you think about that, Nomad? I know you don't go on 40s and shit. So, what do you think about like Ebner compared to a Cohen and how he fits in this running back room?
Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell everybody something. And I just want you to pay close attention to it. And most people have noticed this by now if they watch enough football. But if you notice, a running back that gains momentum during the game and starts having those physical runs and finishing runs, that shit starts to galvanize a team, especially the O-line and people watching on the sideline. You see the energy level start to pick up and tick up, and guys start getting a little bit more motivated. And you know who else sees that? The coaches and the offensive coordinators is like, hey, you know what? Feed that motherfucker. Let him eat. Give him the ball again. Let's see if we can keep that momentum going. And he's got enough ground and pound. Look, Shorty, he's not a fast guy. He's not a down the field speed guy. He's not gonna run away from anybody. He's just not. But he has just enough of it to be able to be effective in a football game. But he is got extra in the physical part of the football game, where he breaks tackles and runs people over. And that's the shit that galvanizes a line that really what they want to do is put their hands in the dirt and just plow your ass over in the first fucking place.
Right.
The team will feed off of that. I guarantee you that. However, you get enough of that going on, and then you spell him with an Ebner. I mean, not an Ebner, but a Herbert, very fresh, very fast, and very powerful at the same time, too. Right when the team is starting to get a little bit tired, you got them standing up with their hands on their hips. Here comes this motherfucker. And you have an Ebner that you can put almost anywhere on the football field. Not almost, absolutely anywhere on the football field. He can strike you from either position. So you talking about a three-headed monster. I know it's early, but I'm pretty comfortable saying that we have probably one of the top trios of running backs in the league. I'm pretty confident about that. So that's what I would say to that.
And that opens up the passing game too, right? So that, but to talk about a little bit about the wide receivers and some of the shifting that's gone around in the last couple of days with them adding Marset from the Vikings and cutting Sharp. We've had some injuries to Velus Jones. He hasn't really played very much. We're all assuming he's going to be – there's nothing up that says he won't, but so we're all assuming he's going to play the first game of the season. There's a lot of – we haven't even seen from the Velus Jones part of the wide receiver room that the running game, just like we were talking about, can open up the passing game, which we all believe it will. What are we going to see out of those wide receivers that we have now with the room that we have? We have Velus Jones, we have Darnell Mooney, we have Equanimeous St. Brown, we have Byron Pringle, now we have Amir Marset. Is it Amir Smith Marset?
Smith Marset,
yeah.
I'm
at a loss for words for the other wide receiver that we have, but what is that going to do to the wide receivers that we have with the running game? Do you think it's going to? I would imagine it would help them.
Well, Shorty, what I'm happy to see is that the receivers are getting healthy for the most part coming into week one.
Finally.
You know, I mean, the Bears have been practicing hard, so you would think that they'd have a bunch of injuries and half the team won't be playing the way it was a couple of weeks ago. No, everybody's coming together to pretty much be ready. So, since I do believe the Bears are going to be a running team first, and the previous regime could not commit to that. They would run, get yards, run, get yards, run, get yards, and then just stop doing it for a quarter. I think this team is going to continue to do it until the other team comes up into the box and that opens everything up for the speedsters. Velus Jones, he's going to be 5 yards behind a defender if the defender blinks. Mooney has the chance to grow in. This is his third year. That's historically breakout year for wide receivers. Mooney has a chance to grow into a WR1. I mean, will he do it? Hopefully. Even if he doesn't, he's going to be a very good WR2 still, and the Bears can address that next off season.
Do you see that compliment below from Ravy? Cliff, your cadence reminds me of Les Grobstein from Chicago Overnight Radio legend. Yep.
Thanks, Ravi.
That's an ultimate compliment for you right there, buddy.
My voice sounds so high-pitched to me when I'm talking here on the podcast. It sounds a lot higher pitched than it sounds to me in person. But I guess that's with everybody. The first time you record yourself, you think, who is that?
Right. All I hear is the Chicago accent.
Well, I haven't 12 years down here in Florida, and I haven't lost it yet. Chicago is still home to me.
You got to hang on to that, man.
So, hey, Nomad, so to finish up the comment on the receivers, I think that they're going to have more opportunities because they've got a better quarterback than we had in the past. And also, if the run game is going and the defense is in the box, they're going to have more opportunities to get yards and score. Now, Nomad, you would be the one to ask about the defensive line. Are we going to be getting to the 49ers quarterback?
He's muted.
Okay.
Unmute yourself, buddy.
Say that one more time, Cliff. I'm sorry, man.
Sure, sorry. With the 49ers, Trey Lance, he's going to be trying to run the ball. He's going to be trying to throw the ball. Is our defensive line going to get to him and give him problems?
I'll answer that as quick as I can. Listen, I've been watching tape pretty much the whole weekend. When I had time, I was watching tape. I've been watching, especially this new guy we're bringing in from Minnesota. Don't know exactly where he's going to fit into the rotation early on, but he's going to get into the rotation. I don't know that he's going to come right out of the gate and be a starter, but we don't necessarily need him to be a starter right now at his position. I'm also curious as to where they play him on the D-line. Will they play him at the 3-tech? Will they play him at the nose? I'm just curious about what they have in mind for a 300-pound guy who I think makes a good backup 3-tech. However, I believe, and I said this before in another pod, I think Angelo Blackson is going to have a knockout year if he remains healthy, knock on wood. I think he's going to knock it out of the park from the middle of that field. I think we're going to have plenty of edge rush. I think we're going to edge rush in waves. And we're going to, early in the game, I think they're going to stuff the run. They're going to be just jam the front of that offense and make Trey Lance throw the ball. And when he does, when we get a 14-point lead on him or something like that, a couple touchdown lead on him, he's going to have to throw that ball. And when he does, that's when all that shit will come into play. And so early on, they're going to stuff that run. And late in the game, they're going to come after Trey Lance with everything they got. Blackson, Quinn, Muhammad, Robinson, all these guys will play a role in that. They'll come at him in waves. It's just how Eberflus runs his defense. They're going to come after that motherfucker and make him pay.
Now, Shorty, do you think they should be putting a spy, someone to keep an eye on Lance and prevent him from running?
I think they're going to have to. I think the game's going to kind of predict. I would think that with the offensive mind of the head coach of the 49ers, that he's going to try to utilize Trey Lance in probably many ways that we will be hoping that the Bears will be utilizing Justin Fields, right? So some design run concepts for him, a lot of design rollouts. I think that the Bears kind of have the upper hand on this as the defense because they know kind of the vanilla shit that the Niners are going to have to run with a quarterback like him who has never really played before. And they're going to have to – it's almost like it's his rookie season, and you can almost kind of tee up to that knowing what they're going to do, especially from a play caller like Shanahan. You're going to see the same kind of things we all thought we should have saw from Justin Fields last year under Nagy, right? And if that could kind of give them a telltale sign of some of the things to look for when defending a quarterback like this for the first time really playing. So if he can actually blow up from that and he knows all the things that we're going to do based on, they're probably training him in training camp to think the same thing that we're going to be doing to them on deep. He's probably telling them all the same thing, the head coach. They're going to be thinking this, just like I said, and this and that, and then just look out for this, look out for that. It's going to be interesting because at that point, it's going to come down to his ability, right, and his smarts, and his ability to process things quickly, and that's where the meat and bones of it's going to come from. We already know that Justin Fields can do those things. What we don't know is that Trey Lance can. Right. So I think that's where the hope comes from us Bear fans, that we know that we have the upper hand in that regard, that had you played him last year and put as much as we tried to Fields, that he might have had he'd be like even keel with Fields as far as his experience right now. But right now we have the upper hand as far as that. We can talk about Nick Bosa destroying, Braxton Jones all day long, but what it comes down to is, can our defense stop that? And if we're doing that spy shit, knowing that they're going to be rolling out and waiting for that, there's where you have the Roquan Smith, right? Mm-hmm. And we got him back. He's on the team now. So bring the spy on all fucking day long, man. I think
can I jump in here right quick?
Yeah.
And sorry to interrupt you before Nick's statement gets away from us. Yeah, he said that Trey Lance has a year in his playbook. That is true. In the same offense, that is true. However, nothing can prepare you for live fire, and if you've had enough of it or not, nothing. You have to get out there and have the reps and the snaps to be able to apply that year into your playbook. So that means something, but not as much as people might think. And another thing is, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, like Nick jumped in, he came in kind of late and he said, what did I miss? And that's one of the things that you missed, Nick. Go ahead, Nomad. We talked about it earlier. Go ahead.
Another thing is, I don't think we need to spy him. Why? Because we have very, very athletic, very fast linebackers that can cover him one-on-one if he slips out of the backfield. Do they need a spy? Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think most of the coverage, if I'm the defensive coordinator, if I had anything to do with it, it would be all about disguising and showing him looks and taking those looks away at the snap. Showing him something in pre-snap, taking it away in post-snap. And that's where a guy like Kyler Gordon in the slot can be very effective for you. And I don't want to get too far in the weeds with the X's and O's because I know everybody listening and watching this doesn't quite get what I'm saying. But there are ways and there are techniques that you can do with a quarterback that young to really give him the flux early in the game and make him use his head and basically, see if you can get him to betray himself and betray his instincts. You know what I'm saying? It's a really simple game, man. You just have to show him something and be able to take that away and be effective at it.
Right.
There's one thing that the 49ers do really well, and that's going to help Lance, but it may also help the Bears, and that's use their fullback. So I'm excited about seeing the Bears fullbacks this year. I mean, it's so enjoyable to see the fullback fade out and they forget to cover him. And he's wide open. So here's your 10, 15, 20-yard gain because nobody bothered to cover the fullback. And then when you're on the goal line, the Bears are going to be using a fullback, and they'll be using a 260-pound tight end fullback as the tight end. So they're going to have a lot of weight going against the defense to get that yard.
And the confidence that I have in Getsy to get that kind of shit done with the personnel that he has is through the roof. So I just can't wait to see it actually unfold in real time.
Well, we'll find out on Sunday.
We will. We'll be there live, doing pregame, midgame, and postgame. So subscribe, tune in, and set your notifications because you're going to get some crazy shit on Sunday when we're doing our live pod for the Bears game. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. I haven't been to a Bears game in years because we moved, and this is just so perfect for Bears Country Podcast. It's going to be awesome.
I'll definitely be watching you.
I know you will, Billy. That's awesome.
I can tell you guys one thing. This entire season, especially as it gets off to the start that I believe it will, this is a total and complete indictment on Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy.
God damn.
The turnaround that these guys, that I believe these guys will be able to do, starting off early, is going to be an absolute indictment on Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. And I think that's going to be part of a big narrative going forward.
Because of what we've already seen, like we talked about in the preseason. It's like that obvious already. You know? Can't wait for the season just to see it grow. Leo Fector says, we all moved the ball with Nagy versus the Niners. The Niners have the same team with the worst QB. Yes, just like we said. It's we have the upper hand because Justin Fields has more experience than Trey Lance had last year. And there's not much to go off of as far as like hope for Trey Lance. If I was a Niners fan via the preseason, I think it's like the best time right now to take up. Let's bring up some questions because we kind of want to get to the end of the show and start to actually address some of the questions and the comments that the fans have. And there's been a few that Kitty has pulled aside for us to kind of talk about. Are you guys okay with that? You guys have anything else to add to what we said before that?
No, it's not. The only thing I would think about covering before we start that are the defensive backs, safeties, the cornerbacks that the Bears have now were improved from last year. So maybe that will help in the game too. So I just want to throw that in there. We're
greatly improved. As long as we can get Brisker back by the first game of the season from that surgery on his thumb or whatever happened to him, that is going to be key because Brisker and Gordon are such huge additions to this defense that it's going to be so exciting to watch it unfold as the season goes on because I think they could both be possible Hall of Fame candidates by the time their careers are over. I know I'm like the ultimate optimist, but I like to project into the future based on things that I'm seeing not only from the person but the player.
Right. Agreed.
You know something? Somebody asked me that, and this is not me tooting my own horn. I started in this getting into chats and just talking to people around different chats and different shows about this, that, and the third, and it would just be conversation. But now, after a while, I think people starting to realize that, hey, Nomad actually he kind of knows a little bit. You know what I mean? At least a little. And now people started to ask me questions. Yeah. And one of those questions was, what do you think is a strength on this team, if there is any? And the first thing flew out of my mouth was the secondary. Right. I think it's an absolute improvement in that secondary. And that is the strength of this football team in my eyes. So just for that, I just want to put that out there.
What's your offensive strength?
The offensive strength is definitely the running back position.
Me too.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think, it all comes down to the offensive line, as it always does. So if the line can at least be average, I think the run game is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. And that'll open up the passing game too, which that's where my 11-6 comes from. It's simple.
The Bears run, and then Justin Fields hits a 50-yarder just for you.
All right, so
I think.
Go ahead, buddy.
My bad. Go ahead, man. No, you got to go ahead and do that.
No, I'm segueing. You finish what you were saying.
All I was going to add to that was I think the running back room is definitely a jewel on the team for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty had some stuff that she pulled up here. Roster positions. We should kind of talk about that before we bring in the chat. So we're looking at, these are the roster, the starting lineups as we see it right now. So Darnell Mooney, Braxton Jones, Cody Whitehair, Lucas Patrick, Riley Reef. Wait, what?
Now, what I was wondering about that. Is he actually starting, or is that Tevin? Or I mean, Borum.
Yeah, that's all fucked up.
Oh, we can't even. That's not correct, honey. I'm sorry.
That's all right. She did the best she could.
She
Don't
tried.
blame Kitty.
What is this one? Let's try our defensive end, our defensive positions. Quinn, Justin Jones, Angelo Blackson, Travis Gibson, Nicholas Morrow, Roquan Smith. No. Wait, Joe Thomas? Yeah, Joe Thomas. No, that's not right, is it? Isn't it Matthew Adams? All right. Yeah, you know what? You tried, honey. You tried, Kitty.
ESPN has Reef in there, too, as of right now.
Just so you see, it says as of 8/22, this is from the Chicago Bears website, the depth chart, that is the latest that they've posted. I have ESPN ones that I can pull up as well.
So you're saying, so the Chicago Bears are saying that their depth chart,
their official website is saying this as of 8/22.
This one isn't on. This isn't on Kitty. I seen this too. It's all fucked up. The depth chart that they put out there isn't necessarily something that's put out by the coaches or the coordinators. It's some PR person that's putting this shit out there.
Yeah.
So would you like the ESPN ones that I have?
No, we don't need to go into that. Let's just take some chat questions.
We know they're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck that.
I can only do what they provide me.
Ooh, I think Simon's making I think Simon's making a pizza in the oven down there.
You hungry motherfucker? Hey, focus.
Oh, sorry.
Focus, man.
It smells like a delicious pizza in the oven.
I have ribs in the fridge. You're making me think about them.
Hey, Simon, bring me a piece of that pizza.
All right, before we all get too hungry, let's see some chat questions.
Yeah, let's get to some fucking chat questions.
Went to White Castle, goddammit, I
swear. Jordan says, just curious what Nomad, Cliff, and Dan think. More talent on the team collectively now in 2022 or better during the 18 to 21 Nagy era? I'll just go first. I would say more collective talent on this team now than that era. I mean, you can take Roquan Smith Khalil Mack and say he has more talent, but he didn't really produce. Well, he did, but he just couldn't stay healthy. I mean, he had 6 sacks in 7 games last year. Had he played the whole season, it could have been 18 sacks. He would have been right there, like battling back and forth with Quinn for sacks, right? We don't know, but he got injured. And that's what the story is with him. So I think that if you were to talk about collective talent, in my opinion, I think that with the buy-in of what we have with this team, with the coaching staff, I think it's, to my answer is, yes, more talent now on this team, yes.
Definitely,
I'll give that to you,
definitely
Cliff,
more future talent on the team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like you're saying, Khalil Mack, I mean, he was a top player in the NFL when he was healthy. But what talent did that other team really have? You know, I mean, Allen Robinson, when he played on it, he was great when he wasn't on the Bears, and he had one good year on the Bears. So I got to say that right now, with the young guys and with their potential, I say future talent is right now.
That's I'll just tell you what came to my mind first, without getting too far into the weeds with this shit. I think the 18-21 team had more talent. 18 through 21, those teams had more talent. However, like to what Shorty said, The difference is in the coaching. The difference is in the standard. The difference is in the amount of buy-in and the ability to be able to squeeze the juices out of every one of those individual players. Right. From the conditioning standpoint to the execution of an offense and a defensive game plan is much better now than anything we had going on from 18 through 21. So if that answers your question, Jordan, I think those teams had better talent when you look at, I guess, any kind of metric. However, this team stands a better chance to be successful based on the things I just previously said.
So those teams might have had better talent, but they didn't use it as well as the current team could use the talent.
The coaching failed them, yeah.
I believe so.
I agree with you on that. What's the next? Keep them coming, guys. Keep the comments or chat or questions coming in chat. Let's have Kitty pull them up. We have a couple more saved that we starred for this portion of the show. So if you have any more, just keep adding them to it. Bring up the next one. So Coach Williams versus first time QB
versus Lance.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Cliff.
I like Coach Williams. I mean, I think he does a lot of the same type of thing that Eberflus did in Indianapolis. Again, I think Lance's strength, like I said, I had him on a fantasy team last year, so I paid some attention to him. His strength is running right now. He actually reminded me of like a better version of Trubisky, where he would make the one read, and if it wasn't there, he'd be taken off.
Right.
So can Coach Williams combat that? Yeah, I definitely think so. Like as you mentioned, Shorty, we got the quick linebackers. So I think a big part of the linebacker's job is going to be to cut down the short passes and to prevent Lance from getting the first downs himself.
I know you got something on that, Nomad. Hello? Nomad, are you there?
Go ahead, man. I'll back clean up. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I know you have something to say on this with Coach Williams.
Okay. First of all, Williams is not a puppy when it comes to this whole thing about scheming and designing defenses. He's just now getting his chance to shine. And do I think he's going to be anything like Eberflus? I think he's going to be similar. But I believe I got a strong feeling he's going to be a little bit more blitz dominant versus an Eberflus defense who was very, very conservative when it came to blitzes. Why? If they put Kyler Gordon in a slot, that's going to give them extra opportunity to scheme up different things because of his agility and to be able to recover from certain things. And here I am getting ready to get into the weeds. Let me stop myself. But yes, I think
you're our
Williams
expert, Nomad.
Well, I'm not an expert. I just been around this shit a long time and I kind of see stuff. But against a first-time QB, I think he's gonna fucking destroy him, and it's gonna make Trey Lance look really bad.
Trey Lance hasn't played in like 3 years now, or no, 2 years, because he sat out the final year of his college season for the COVID protocol, and then he barely played last year. Right now, he's going to come in and start the first game against the Chicago Bears, and I don't give a shit what you talk about our defense is or our regime is, or make fun of it all you want, but there's something to that. I mean, when you have especially a new regime that you have nothing to game plan from, you're going to just throw basically a quarterback in there who hasn't played in almost 2 seasons. Yeah, he's been learning under this regime for one in the same offense, yeah, but nobody knows, including himself, what he can do on the field with the ball in his hand when the lights are on. So I don't see any reason why we can't win this game. I really don't.
I'm still shocked the 49ers took Lance instead of Fields. I think Fields would have fit in very well with their team.
I'm so glad they didn't.
You know what's funny? Is these guys, they only have like a 2-year window to be able to get to the final prize. That's the Super Bowl. They had the last 3 years to do it. They haven't reached that yet. So I'm giving them 2 more years, and I think that's going to end up in the that's going to be a backstory. Is the choice of what they had to do to get Trey Lance and what they gave up to get it, and they shunned Jimmy Garoppolo. They missed on Justin Fields. That's going to be a story.
And they ruined their window.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl. I think they missed a win.
I agree with you. Had they taken Fields, I think they would have been able to develop him in that window like they're trying to do with Lance, and I just don't think it's going to work out for him. And you know, it sure does add some relief to the sting from the Trubisky trade, right? With them.
Well,
that question up there is interesting.
Yeah, I was going
J-Rock.
to say J-Rock. The 49ers have what at inside linebacker? What is that? What is IOL?
Offensive line.
Interior offensive line, running back, quarterback, a rookie starting at cornerback, and Jimmy Ward is out. That's true. Jimmy Ward is out. So
that's all good for the Bears.
You know something, man? The thing, Jimmy Ward gone, and they don't have Jaquiski Tartt anymore. I think that's a bigger deal than people realize right now. Those 2 guys were keys in their success on defense. Not having 2 important players like that, you know, we've lost key players that we thought were important, but those 2 guys in that secondary, man, it's hard to find guys that can play that effective in the secondary. It's easier to find guys that can play and apply pressure up front than it is to find guys that are effective in the secondary. I'll just say that. So that is going to be a big key.
I think that it's actually going to be a better matchup than people think. And people are going to be national media and some local media, probably most of them actually, are going to be surprised with the outcome. And then what we're going to see is the national media podcasts just blowing them and talking about all the optimistic shit that we've been talking about for the last fucking 6 weeks. And they're going to try to take credit for it, when the entire time they were pessimistic and talking shit about our beloved. And I just can't wait to point all that shit out, how right we were. And I hope we're not going to say we were wrong, but I truly don't believe that we will.
I think we may still see another week before the national media realizes that the Bears are more than they think we are.
Yeah, it's going to take that one big game for them to go, yeah.
You know,
I don't think.
Go ahead, Nomad.
I was going to say, I'm going to say this one more time. I don't think it's just going to be a win. I think this is going to be a thumping. I think the quarterback is gonna shine like a brand new fucking penny, man. I'm talking about for the 49ers, his lack of experience and his lack of, you know, just being in there, having the experience of live fire and bullets. He isn't quite sure what he's getting himself into quite yet. I'm sure they're making him comfortable with the scheme that they're planning up against the Bears, but he's got to go out there and execute it. It always looks good on paper until you have to go out there and deal with it, and that's going to shine.
Trey Lance doesn't have that Cleveland Browns game under his belt yet, does he?
He does not.
He does not. So I think we're getting to like an hour and 54. What else do you guys have to add to this before we wrap it up?
Let's talk a little bit about Thursday. The season starts, regular season, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime. So are some of you guys out there not going to be able to see the game? It's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, if you subscribe to NFL Plus, which used to be Game Pass, they give you the live game, but only from a mobile device. By the way, that's how I'm getting it, because I live in Georgia. So other than me going to this game here, visiting back home, and then going to the game in the Dolphins game, November 9th, every game that I'm watching is going to be done. Well, I'm going to broadcast it to my TV from my phone, but that's the only way that they let you. But that is the way. If you want to do it rather than logging out or paying $250 a year for NFL Game Pass, the NFL Plus is the way to go. Just broadcast it from your phone to your television, and then you'll get the games. I'm sure, is that how you're going to do it, Cliff? Because I know Nomad doesn't have that problem.
Well, I do have Prime, so I can get the Thursday games that way. But yeah, I'm debating once again if I want to get the Sunday package to see the games. And every year it's really aggravating because the only games I really want to see live are the Bears games.
Right.
So paying for the entire season just to see that, I don't know. I have to think about it again.
It's only $99 a year, and you get the content the entire season, so you can rewatch all the games and all that stuff. I feel like I'm doing a fucking commercial for them, which I shouldn't be.
Well, it's something to think about. But this is another one of those plus channels where, everybody has a plus channel now because they all want to get more money out of the customers.
We have some more questions here in the chat. There we go. Can we agree Ryan Pace left us some parting gifts? What do you guys think about that?
What do you think,
Go
ahead.
Parting gifts. Go ahead.
GT Extra, by the way. Thank you, GT. GT, you are, by the way, we've never seen you in our chat room before live. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Continue to join us. Like and subscribe. Set your notifications because we have a lot of this shit coming, and we appreciate you joining us tonight. Go ahead and answer the question, guys.
All right, I'll go. I think that most of the gifts that we were left were unfortunately not pleasant ones. It's sort of like Christmas, and you go to open up a box and you think it's going to be a puppy, and it turns out to be not a puppy.
A cockroach.
Yeah, there you go. He left us tremendously over the cap. He left us with a lot of bad contracts. So, did he get some players that can still help the team out? Sure. But, how many players are still left from more than a couple of years ago? Maybe 30 players left or something. Shorty, you may have the number on that.
No. I know. He parting gifts that he left us. Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair, Roquan Smith,
running backs.
Oh, David Montgomery. Thank you for reminding me. Even Khalil Herbert, good running back.
And Mooney, of course.
Darnell Mooney, yeah.
So yeah, there is
quite a bit. He did leave us. Oh, Tevin Jenkins, a gem at right guard. It seems to be.
He's being formed into a gem.
Mm-hmm.
He's still sort of half cull, half gem, and then at the end it's going to be beautiful and flawless and really shiny.
What are your pace gems, Nomad?
Listen, I'm a glass half full guy, and people that listen to us long enough and pay attention to us long enough know that I'm going to focus always on the positive. Mm-hmm. He did not leave the cupboard bare at all. They made some really good draft picks, and they left some core pieces in this franchise that made it so that these guys that just walked in and changed this regime around, they didn't have to completely tear this team down and start from scratch with a new quarterback, a new middle linebacker, a new stud running back, a new stud receiver, new stud cornerback, new stud safety. We got all that as we speak right now. Core pieces to a franchise. Right. That's why all that nonsense about these guys that have nothing, they're starting with nothing, this is a rebuild, all that shit is bullshit. But I'm gonna save it until I get my rant going on because that's the whole thing, man. It's about the narrative that people like to drive. There's some good things that happen under Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, some very good things that happened. How they left and how it ended was horrible. But they did not leave the cupboard bare. And I'll get into that later.
Unfortunately, the level of play that we had towards the end of the Nagy term, that was terrible. It's the 6-10 season.
Yeah,
6-11.
6-11. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was before or after the 7th.
I know the extra game fucks us all up, doesn't it?
Yes. But anyways, the bad play, that ruined that season was terrible. So as far as parting gifts go, they took all my gifts away by having that bad season. It's like Christmas was nothing. There was a piece of coal under the tree, and it wasn't even a good tree.
I know it was. We all struggled to get through some of those games, right? The Lions Thanksgiving game, after they announced they were going to fire Nagy after the game, so it was like, it's just kind of made it. And pretty much any time Fields didn't play for me was a game that was just like, it's like, I don't want to watch this, but I have to because it's my team and I have to know what's going on. And they might win the game, fuck, but it was all about the Justin Fields development for me last year. And seeing so many games missed or not underdeveloped or, he underprepared, the situations that he put him in it really made last season a kind of a season. You know what I mean? And that's why I think we're also fucking jacked up for this season, is because we all have everything we've talked about. We're now in the thick of it, and the game starts in a few days. And here we are again with our newly renowned NFL hope for the season, as every year starts,
But better hope this year.
Right. Even better hope. Nomad, I'm curious to know what your rant is, because we're going on 2 hours. We're a little bit over 2 hours now. What's your rant on that? You had a rant you wanted to say.
Well, let's make sure we empty all the questions out first. Steve had something up there. What was he saying there?
Oh yeah, we have some more questions here. Pull up some more questions, Kitty. Everywhere, but Bears have questions everywhere, but about 6 spots. So,
That
what
could
are
be
those
called
6 spots?
that could be called competition too.
Mm-hmm. But what do you guys think those 6 spots are?
I know where Steve is coming from. And there's a train of thought for that in my eyes. Is when you wherever he thinks those question marks are, they have put sufficient people in these spots. I didn't see a spot on this team that really concerned me other than the 3 tech position. I'm less concerned about that now than I was 2 or 3 weeks ago, because I think what Poles is doing is finding those opportunities to get those acquisitions at that spot, and they're going to keep finding guys in those different spots that you might be questioning. But I don't think all is lost. Steve has a pessimistic view of what the season is going to look like. I just don't.
I expect that it's going to be a good season of development for the Bears, because I have confidence in the coaching staff now. They've earned my trust. And as far as the 6 spots that you've got Mooney, you've got Justin Fields, of course, you've got Monty, you've got Roquan. I wouldn't call him a question because he's going to be there at least another year, and 2 with a franchise tag if he doesn't sign.
Yeah.
So that's maybe 4 of them. The other 2, I'm not sure who the big names would be yet. There we go.
Oh, Jenkins, even
Larry Borom.
Yeah, or even Whitehair, because he's a proven veteran. But
I don't know about Whitehair though. I don't know how safe his job is going to be. Maybe as early as next season.
Well, right, because his contract is going to. That's what I think. One of the reasons why they kept Ja'Tyre Carter is for, because they know that he's going into a big contract year, and they can actually dump that contract and get rid of him. This is Cody Whitehair's last season. That's what That's what I believe. The majority of their guard development work has been for, with Carter and Thomas and Jenkins even.
Same thing with Leatherwood coming in.
Right.
He's like a clone of Tevin.
Right.
You know, very similar situations for both of them. So if he would end up switching over to the left guard spot, you know, then he'd probably be a lot cheaper than Cody Whitehair. You know, what is it, like $6 million for 3 years or something with him?
I think it's higher than that. He's going to look at.
I think it's pretty cheap for Leatherwood.
No, Whitehair. I think Whitehair is going to be a bigger.
Yeah, Cody would be
year.
much more expensive. Yes.
If they can if they can develop somebody underneath him and plug and play him and just let that contract go, you know they're going to do that.
Right.
I think Tyree Carter is destined for that guard position over there. Yeah. At some point, I don't know how soon it's going to happen, but I think that spot over there is destined for a Tyree Carter type. The Leatherwood signing, I think, was all about Larry Bourne and them not being sure about Larry Bourne's physicality and be able to finish and play the physical style that they want to play. I said that in the last pod. I think he didn't quite prove to them that he can be physical for 4 quarters. And he has I don't know. I've never met Larry Bourne, but I kind of sense kind of a passive attitude in Larry Bourne, and they need a physical person in that spot. And I think Leatherwood is there to challenge him.
Let's take 2 more questions here. Kitty has lined up for us. Oh, yes. I saw this earlier, and I flagged it for her to keep. We had Raider Nation in here. Thank you for watching, Raider Nation. We appreciate you coming on to watch Bears content. I wouldn't be watching your shit on the Raiders Nation podcast, so if you had one. So we appreciate you coming on to hack it up with us on Bears Country Podcast. So
renewable rechargeable.
So Raider Nation says, we won that Khalil Mack trade. How'd that work out? I would love to hear what you two fuckers have to say about that.
I don't think either side won with that trade. Everybody lost.
Me too. I agree. Nomad?
We won. We won the trade. We lost let's just put it this way. It was a successful operation, but the patient fucking died. Yeah. We didn't win the Super Bowl. It was about winning the Super Bowl, man.
I will say that who'd we get with the Khalil Mack pick? Was that Brisker or was that
that was Brisker, yes.
So, you know, in that case, maybe if you're thinking the end result, maybe the Bears did win the trade.
And what I would say to that is why I think the Bears broke even with them on that trade is because let me ask the two of you guys this question. What is Roquan Smith's best game as a Bear? Cliff, you go first.
I don't remember which one it was. I'll give it to Nomad here.
Don't give it to me because Shorty's over there spitballing. I don't know shit. I can't tell you.
Shorty
it was his first fucking game as a Bear. But his best game was his first game as a Bear. The strip
I got a better
sack
question for you. Give me one bad game you seen that dude have.
Makes a lot of tackles.
I've seen him have a lot of bad games where he was getting double teamed and pushed around. It was because of injuries to his knee at the time and his ankle the next year. But that's the point. When you start stacking up all of the injury time lost or the average play because of an injury that he's trying to play through, where does that trade come out to? Is it even? Is it slightly Bears? Is it slightly favored in the Raiders? I mean, they got a running back out of it that was decent for a couple of years, but nobody's really talking about. He hasn't really done shit since then. I think what Cliff said is a great point. The final thing that we got out of that was that the trade back from
Khalil Mack
to trade Khalil to the Chargers, where we got that extra second round pick, and that was Brisker. So that could be the final result of that trade, right? The best thing that came out of it. If you're talking about all the injuries, all the games missed from injury, yes, Nomad, he played fantastically. Last year, like I said, before he went down with an injury, 6 sacks in 7 games or whatever. That could have been phenomenal going into the end of the season when he's battling for the sack record with Quinn, right? Who knows? But That's the point. We don't know. So I think it's an even toss as far as the exciting moments that we got out of Mac, that first game against the Packers. Holy shit. Lots of other games I can remember too. Just pushing over a tackle with one arm and just right to the court. Lots of things like that, but not enough that you would like sit back and think of Khalil Mack as a all-time Hall of Famer linebacker for the Bears. I mean, had he played the 4 seasons for the Bears, maybe you could say that. But just the short time he was there, I don't know. I don't know.
This is the one thing that frustrates me about Bears conversation is so much revisionist history. It's so many. There's so much that the past keeps bringing to the present,
haunting us. Like,
like let it go, man. That was yesterday. Fuck yesterday. Fuck that shit. I'm worried. I'm not worried. I'm focused on what's about to happen today and tomorrow. Khalil Mack era, that's over. Ain't nothing we can do about that. What we got. That's it. What the 85 Bears were in 85, they were. That's it.
Done talking about that. Done talking about the 85 Bears myself. I honestly am done talking about the 85 Bears.
No, it's such a great
Bears.
season. I watch the 85 season every few years just for the enjoyment factor.
Me too, but talking about it, it's like, stop talking about it. Like, we've got to move on for that. We need to make something else happen. We need to start the vibe. We need to get the energy going for something different from a new team, like another Super Bowl from a new team.
There you go.
So much to look forward to, guy. I mean, it's so many reasons to be optimistic. I ain't got time to think about none of that shit that happened yesterday. I ain't got time. I just don't. I'm not feeding into it.
Now to finish it up with Mac, I really liked it when they traded for him, and I didn't mind it when they traded him away.
Perfectly summarized. Thank you. What's the next question, Kitty? What are the matchups that the Bears have an advantage at in this entire season?
That's got to be on the 49ers game.
That's for a different podcast, but as far as this game, what are the matchups that the Bears have an advantage at? I mean, go ahead, Cliff. You spew it out.
I'm concerned about the 49ers defense, but I'm hoping that the Bears offensive line can get the openings going enough for the Bears running backs to take advantage. And I think that the Bears secondary, they got to watch out for Debo, maybe Ayuk a little bit, but I don't think that they should have too much trouble with the rest of the WRs.
Nomad?
Okay. I'll tell you what sticks out right away when just hearing that question and just what came instinctively to my mind was we have a much more, I ain't going to say a much more, but a little bit more experienced quarterback than they do. And that makes all the difference in the world, number one. Number two, that's a very aggressive defensive front. Very, very, very aggressive defensive front. And we have the pieces within, with you got guys like Ebner, guys like Velus Jones, people like Mooney, really slippery guys like Dante Pettis, to use that aggressiveness against them. Make them pay for that aggressiveness. Make them, go right towards that aggressiveness, and there'll be holes right behind it. And so being able to use that to our advantage, I think that's two things that stick out right away to me.
Let's see some screens.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see the matchups. I want to see Cole Kmet matching up against their linebackers. Was it Fred Warner that's going to be covering him? I'm not exactly sure what that matchup would be. Is it Fred Warner? So I'm interested to see the Cole Kmet matchups. All the 49ers really have to do is just, barrel down their number one cornerback on Darnell Mooney and dare the Bears to pass to somebody else. And so those are going to be the matchups that I want to see. You know, an ESB going against.
It's a very evenly matched setup. They're very evenly matched. On paper, it looks like San Fran has the advantage, and as far as talent and as far as marquee names go. But they're very evenly matched. It's almost like they'll be playing like themselves, kind of.
Right.
And
same team, like a mirror image.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's a good question. Good.
Real quick, Shorty. They don't have like really knock you out of the park receivers just like we don't. But they have talented guys that can get the job done. Stout defense. You know, solid running back play. We have better running back play than them, I believe. And two mildly inexperienced quarterbacks, one more inexperienced than the other, and that makes for a good matchup.
I think the matchups might come down the most to the offensive coordinating minds, you know, Getsy versus Shanahan. That's probably the matchup that I want to see the most.
Sure, that's a great one.
Yeah. So, any more questions there, Kitty? We're going to have to get this wrapped up soon because Kitty has to go to bed. She has to work tomorrow.
It's about that time anyway.
I have to go tomorrow and have an Italian beef at Portillo's for the show. But Kitty has to work.
I have to see if my home is cooled off.
No, there's no more questions, but except for mine. Score. What's the score?
Oh.
You didn't say anything about the score.
Well, we're going to be breaking this down a little bit more during the week as we get more information as far as injuries and game day players and stuff. But I'm going to say that the score off the top of my head it's an odd one. I'm going 22-11. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been envisioning a safety since I first started thinking about this matchup. So I'm going to go 22-11 Bears.
I'm thinking 27-21 Bears. You know, I'm being a little bit of a homer with adding a few more points on there, but that's 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals for Justin, and then the Bears ease up a little bit towards the end of the game, and San Fran comes back a little.
I'm going 24-7 Bears. They get a cheap touchdown.
There you go.
Cheap touchdown late. And yeah, I think this is going to be just too much inexperience. After they put some subs in late in the game, they'll get a touchdown.
Hey, what do you guys in the chat think? What kind of scores are we going to see this Sunday?
We got 24-21. Nice, J-Rock. That's a win. That's all we need is a win. I don't see anything else pouring in. We're probably boring them with our 22-21, 22-11. How do you get to 22-11, by the way? 22-11.
That'd be very unusual.
Yeah.
When you guys are ready, I will do this rant because I'm tired of holding my tongue on this shit.
It's your turn now, man. We got to wrap this up.
It.
Fire it off, buddy.
All right. Hold on. Chug on a beer.
Chug on a beer. We got while you're doing that, we got 24-16 24-16 Bears. Wait, was that 24-16 Niners? Steve Sigmund has Bears losing. Fuck you, Steve Sigmund.
Screw Steve Sigmund.
He'll be on the show again. He can state his case.
Yes.
Steve's membership is doubled now. Your fee's doubled, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's goddamn right.
All right, cheers to the rant.
Cheers to the rant.
All right, y'all ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here's to you beat writing motherfuckers, you reporters that went to school to write. You got a degree. You somehow made your ass inside Hallis Hall, and you write stories. But somehow or another, you've gotten a little pompous because people give you so much credibility. They look for you for answers because you get to go to practice. And us people out here watching these games, we don't. So we have to lean on you for information, you motherfuckers. Tired of you motherfuckers. I'm talking to the Bears fans right now. Pay these sons of bitches zero attention. Most of them never played fucking football. And how are they going to give you a good, accurate estimate of what this team looks like if they don't know what a fucking good football team looks like? They're writers. Take them for what they say on paper, and that's it. Leave the football to the football people and what they think. You give these writers too much credibility. You give them too much energy in your life. They're not that fucking important. They're not football experts, and you should treat their opinions as such. I'm tired of everybody giving all legitimacy to what these motherfuckers say out of House Hall. They just write. They just write. They're not football experts. They don't pay attention to that shit. If Adam Hogue, I'm sorry, you know what? Let me leave names out of this. Whoever is saying anything out of House Hall, just write your fucking story. And if you want to read that story, go ahead and read it. But after that, they can keep those fucking opinions on what they think this team is, how many wins they might get. Why you would even pay that any attention, I don't know. Only reason I listen to any of these podcasts or read any of their stories is because I want to know what happened in practice. I want to know what's going on inside of House Hall. If George McCaskey rolls his fucking ankle and is on ICU. Other than that, I don't need them. I know enough football to not need them for fucking analysis. So I'm just going to say that. Get these motherfuckers out of your head and use your eyes as your own judgment. Listen to people that actually know football and then go from there. But stop listening to these fucking writers. They don't know shit.
Media monkeys. Media monkeys, right? Media monkeys. Fucking awesome rant, Nomad.
There are some good people out there, but the majority fit right into that category, Nomad.
Dude, you said that perfectly. They are fucking paid to go out there and create their own opinion to gain clickbait content, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's on articles that they post. And by the way, they all have 5 different fucking jobs doing different things, covering the Bears to give this fucking bullshit content out to you. This is why you need to tune into Bears Country Podcast, Unbearable Sports. I'm sorry, I should say Bears Country Podcast, Barroom Network, Unbearable Sports, Swift Network, all these different podcasts that people the fans are giving you the actual content that you need, not the bullshit perspective of somebody that's being paid who is not a fan. How many of these people are actually fans of the Bears? If they were, why would they be asking the fucking stupid questions that they're asking that would harm their team by answering them? If they actually got the answer they were looking for 90% of the questions, it would have harmed the team in the end. So excellent fucking rant, Nomad. Like, fuck the national media. If you want to watch the national media, tune into NBC, Channel 5, Channel 7. Tune into Fox Sports. Tune into Comcast Sports. You want to get the fan content, the legit shit that you want to see as a fan? You come here to Bears Country Podcast, and Nomad and our guests like Cliff will deliver it to you, man. Fucking great rant, dude. I didn't see that coming. Awesome.
We do our best to tell the truth.
I had to get that off my chest, man.
I'm glad you did, buddy.
Now, I will say there is one network program that I am going to watch, and that's the Manning Brothers.
Yeah, I like that one.
You know, I mean, you hear some real stuff on that show.
At least they play fucking football.
Yes, exactly. Good point.
Exactly. No shit.
Well, I think that's about time to wrap it up.
I was just going to say, I think that we should wrap that up right on that, man. That was like a perfect segue into the end of this show, man. Like, listen, everyone, we love you guys in chat. There's so many new names in here, too. Donald McHenry, Larry Zurek, Cody Lipscomb. I love the names. thank you so much for coming in to chat and joining us tonight for our what should have been on the Ballroom Network live Monday night podcast with our amazing guest, Cliff. You've been such an excellent guest, Cliff. Anything you want to say tonight to promote anything?
Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Shorty, and Nomad and Kitty for having me on the show. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I really had a lot of fun with it. If you have me back in the future, maybe we can do it when there's actually a game going on so that, we have an easier time of coming up with topics. But it was still a lot of fun. And I suggest to any of you guys in the chat, if you feel like doing it, just go for it. Contact Mr. Shorty, get on the show, and let's hear what you have to say.
BearsCountryPodcast@gmail.com. You can join Vaughn, who will be coming on with us in the near future.
Oh, and if you feel like moving to the Gulf Coast of the free state of Florida, look me up. You can go to Cliff Victoria 08 at Cliff Victoria 08.
There you go. Nomad, any parting thoughts?
Way off topic, guys. It's just one of my personal passions is I just everybody go out there and love people, be nice to people. It doesn't hurt much. It doesn't take much energy. And if you have time, mentor a kid someday. Somebody out there that can probably use your help, even though I know everybody's life's pretty hectic and everybody's got this shit going on. You see if you can find a way to part some time to go mentor a kid. There's a lot of young people out here. It could be a person that's looking to rob you, going into your car, coming out of the grocery store. Mentor a kid one of these days. Help somebody out there and don't get so focused on yourself to where you forget to look out for others. Find some time, mentor a kid. That will be my message.
One of the best things that you can do for your own mental health is to just help. Be kind to people, help whatever you can. Don't kick someone who's down, try to lift them up and try to make them better as a person. So to what you just said, Nomad, yeah, be kind to people, help people, respect people. Make sure that you treat everyone, no matter what platform it is, like you're talking to them to their face. Just like we do tonight, and we will always do with all of our fans. And to that point,
words to live by.
It truly is. To that point, we want to thank everyone who has joined us here tonight, everyone who's watching in the future. We love all of you guys. You are what makes Bears Country Podcast roll along. And just continue to make sure you set your notifications because there's a lot more content coming. I'm not working this entire week. I am doing the favorite foods tour of Chicago, of mine at least. So lots more to come on that. Lots more content coming from us. Set your notifications, like and subscribe. We love you all. Nomad doesn't like to do the Bears with me, but maybe you would, Cliff. Do you want to end it with the Bears?
Sure, why not? Why not? Sounds like fun.
We can let Nomad do his thing.
I even sometimes do it when I'm sitting at home chatting.
All right. Well, that's awesome. You're picking it up. Ready? We'll end this on a 1, 2, 3 Bears. Ready? 1, 2, 3
Bears.
Peace and love.
Peace and
Bears.
Bears Country Podcast. Bring me some.